Lawn bowling is more than just a game. There's no talking on the green.
Genuine 1972 prices.
There's nothing this soft. Just stick it right up them, right up them.
Welcome to Without Bias. Brought to you by Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Apia, dedicated specialists ready to help. Call 13 50 50. Apia, get set, go. Local legends wanted. A bowls green is just up the road. Search bowls clubs near me.
Yes, welcome. Great to have your company on Without Bias. Another week where we delve into the wonderful world of lawn bowls. Sam Hargraves here, and we've got a very, very big show. Joining us in segment 2, Barrie Lester, one of our favourites and probably everyone's favourite Jackaroo and amateur winemaker extraordinaire. So looking forward to catching up with big, bad, bustling Barrie Lester a little bit later on. But first and foremost, I say that this show has a lot of clout, and we go right to the top whenever we can, and it's serendipitous that when you are a show with clout and you want to go straight to the top, well, why don't we go to the man that's just been newly elected World Bowls President? He's a former president of Bowls Australia, and ironically enough, his name is Darryl Clout. Darryl, hello to you, my friend.
Yeah, that was quite an introduction, Sam. Thanks for that.
No trouble. Well, I'm sure you've heard this joke 1,000 times, Darryl, but when you've got a surname Clout, then you were just destined to hold top office.
Remains to be seen how much clout I do have, but thanks for the what I think was intended as a compliment.
No, absolutely. We'll talk us through it. In all seriousness, this is an incredibly prestigious honour and a position of great importance. There probably isn't a position with greater importance in the world of lawn bowls. So congratulations, in all sincerity. It is a wonderful achievement, and you should be incredibly proud. And I'm sure Bowls Australia and everybody involved everyone involved with bowls in Australia is absolutely proud of you as well. Talk us through how this all came about, Darryl. What was the process?
Well, it was came as a bit of a surprise to me and to the rest of the board when our current president, John Bell, decided to resign last week. Yes, it's only been a week since I've held the title. His resignation created a casual vacancy, which I've filled, which the board elected me to fill until the next annual general meeting, which is scheduled for the Commonwealth Games next year in Birmingham. So I'm in the job initially for a period of 12 months. So the fact that I've taken this position is still sinking in. As a result of that, of course, I was the Oceania Regional Director, so now there's a vacancy in that position, and this week the board called for nominations to fill that Oceania position.
Did you have aspirations for the position after you finished up at Bowls Australia?
I had advised the board some time ago, not long after my election, that I was interested in standing when John Bell's term ended. At as I said, next year's Commonwealth Games. So the board was, I guess, on notice, and there are a number of our members who were aware that I expressed an interest in nominating for the position when the time came.
How proud are you? How proud are you of the fact that you're just the third Australian to hold that office?
Yeah, well, it's, as I said, it's still sinking in, but I certainly feel honoured to become the third World Bowls President from Australia and from the Oceania region. I guess it isn't every day that someone from Australia becomes the president of an international sports federation. Although I got close in a previous life where I was the vice president of the International Softball Federation for 8 years before changing over to bowls. But I think it's a recognition of the experience that people from our region have at the highest level of sports administration, and it's a compliment, I guess, to the structures we have in place in many of the sports we play, and in our case, in the administration and the delivery of bowls in particular here in Australia.
Yeah, they are.
I know I've got high standards to maintain to be able to follow in the footsteps of the past Australian presidents, Betty Collins and Joe Aarons. And it was nice that I got very complimentary messages and offers of support from both of them when I was appointed.
That's fantastic. You labelled the challenges that the sport will face over the next 12 months in terms of COVID. What are some of the difficulties you expect to face?
Well, as we all know, life in a pandemic has obviously had a tremendous impact on not only bowls but sport around the world, but particularly bowls. Every one of our more than 50 member countries has been affected to some degree in the way we've been able to deliver the sport to our members. And one of the most obvious effects has been the struggle to be able to maintain a revenue base, to be able to continue to deliver programs as close to what we remembered as normal as possible. So in an effort to help those people, those members, a decision last year to reduce their annual membership fees went some way to assist in mitigating their losses. And that reduction continues into this coming year, as we've advised all members. But that presents a challenge. It has a corresponding effect on our own revenue at World Bowls, with our membership fees making up the vast majority of our income. And how we recover from that financial hit, that's going to be a challenge in the coming months and years. Also, I think that also challenging will be each of our members maintaining and hopefully eventually growing their membership base, with some countries having to go through lockdowns, which meant no bowls was able to be played for long periods of time. And that's what's happened here in Australia. It's a perfect example of that, where many of our states have had to impose restrictions at varying times, which meant no bowls were being played anywhere. And many clubs have been completely closed, no income stream from non-bowls activities at all. So that's a challenge to get back to, as I said, what I call near normal at some time in the future.
We're speaking to the newly elected World Bowls President, Darryl Clout, former President of Bowls Australia, on Without Bias, proudly brought to you by APIA, supporting Bowls Australia. APIA, a dedicated specialist ready to help. Call 13 50 50. And for Bowls Australia, local legends wanted. A Bowls Green is just up the road. Search Bowls clubs near me. Darryl, the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham just under a year away. How will the plans be affected by the pandemic guidelines still in place?
That's the $64,000 question, Sam. As you say, only 12 months away. Still challenges in terms of the pandemic and what the Games might look like. Although I dare say the organisers will be looking at what's happening with Tokyo at the moment and hopefully tapping into the way they've been delivered. So it's a bit of the unknown at the moment. I think the organisers are proceeding at the moment as though everything will be going ahead as scheduled. So it's a bit of a wait-and-see situation, I think.
The next decade poses some really exciting prospects and presents some really exciting prospects for the sport. What are your major goals in the role? Well,
in terms of major goals, I'm not thinking too far ahead. I think that one advantage of the pandemic, if you can call it an advantage, in a period where normal activity stopped, has been the opportunity to reflect on exactly where World Bowls sits in terms of its relevance and importance in a global landscape. We've had the chance to ask just what it is we can offer to our membership in terms of their development, in terms of what we have to offer in promoting the sport to help them, how we might grow the game around the world. So we took the opportunity to survey our membership on these questions. We got quite a positive response, which showed we needed to be able to do more to meet some specific needs. The survey showed us that as the world changes, organisations like ours need to keep up with those changes. And to be honest and to be brutally frank, we hadn't. So to help us do that, the board's decided to conduct a major review of what the sport should look like heading into the next 10, 20 years, how we can do that, what we should be doing, and who we need to help us to do it. We're in the process, as we speak, of calling for expressions of interest for a consultant to guide us in that process at the moment. So I see that as a challenge, as an exciting opportunity to reshape the way the sport's delivered. We'll be involving any of our members who feel they may have a contribution to make during the process so we can get the best possible result. I guess through the sport's ownership of the process, if you like.
It'd be fascinating to see
that's it.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating to see what's unearthed as part of that process. The Olympics are on at the moment. You mentioned Tokyo. It's a bugbear of anyone involved in lawn bowls that they're not involved in the Olympics. Brisbane gets announced as host of the 2032 Olympics. So 12 years away, 11 years away. Is this the opportunity for bowls to finally enter the Olympics? And if so, what's the next step for world bowls to make sure that what is already a Commonwealth Games sport becomes finally an Olympic Games sport?
Well, I'd like to think it's a great opportunity. I mean, it's fantastic news for Brisbane and for Australia. And World Bowls and Bowls Australia certainly be putting our hands up to be part of the 2032 program. Most of your listeners would probably know that the host country of an Olympics has the right, under the current rules anyway, to nominate sports which aren't usually on the program. So we'll be pushing Bowls' case hard at the appropriate time. Bowls Australia, I know, has already publicly indicated it'll be lobbying to get onto the program, and World Bowls will be right behind that push. There are a number of steps to go through in terms of achieving recognition as an Olympic sport, and hand in hand with Bowls Australia, we'll be following through on trying to meet whatever those requirements might be to gain that recognition and ultimately get onto the program. I see bowls, as a very low cost or almost no cost option for the organisers. The way that the Commonwealth Games bowls program was delivered just sets the example. I think it sets the benchmark for any organising committee of any event to follow through and to possibly recreate what was one of the most successful bowls events ever.
Darryl, it's been fantastic to chat to you. Really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the appointment. It is a tremendous honour, thoroughly well deserved, and we know that you'll do the position proud and do bowls proud. So congrats again. Thank you so much for joining us. It's an incredible period in history for bowls, like it is for a lot of sports coming out of COVID, and then what's next and how do you grow and expand. So a really exciting time in the journey of bowls and the possibility of Olympics. Well, there's so much on the agenda, so good luck with it all.
Sam, thanks for the opportunity, and I feel honoured to be on the same program as the great Barrie Lester.
It's very kind of you. I'll pass that on, Darryl. Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Darryl Clout, newly elected World Bowls President and former President of Bowls Australia, and I think everybody would be over the moon for him and really excited about what he'll be able to do to progress bowls, not just in Australia, but around the world. You're listening to Without Bias. It's all for Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted. Search bowls clubs near me, and for Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Barrie Lester will join us next.
From the wide outdoors to the great indoors, this is Without Bias. Brought to you by Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted. A bowls green is just up the road. Search bowls clubs near me.
Yes, welcome back to Without Bias, our dedicated lawn bowl show on SEN. Sam Hargraves with you. It was an honour to chat to the newly appointed president of World Bowls, Darryl Clout, in the previous segment. You'll be able to hear that full chat, sen.com.au, on the Without Bias page, and we do it all for Bowls Australia. Local Legends Wanted. A bowls club is just up the road. Search bowls clubs near me. And for Apia, dedicated specialist ready to help, call 135050 Apia. Get set go. Always great to chat to this man. He is one of, if not the favourite that we chat to on Without Bias. He's a current Jackaroo, a man that's got a lot of medals and trophies in the cabinet. And I just spoke to Darryl Clout, as I mentioned, who said to me that Barrie Lester is one of his favourite people. So who better to speak to after the new president of World Bowls than one of his favourite people, Barrie Lester. Hello, mate.
Oh, thanks very much, Sam. And yes, Darryl, congratulations on your new appointed role, mate. You will do very well at that. It's very exciting for him and not only someone from Australia in that role, mate. So it's really good.
It certainly is. I did make a joke that I'm sure he's heard 1,000 times when I said with a surname like Clout, then you were destined for top office. He didn't find it as funny as I did, to be fair, but in saying that, he's probably heard that joke nigh on, 10,000 times.
Yeah, no, he likes a bit of banter, Darryl, and he was a fantastic Bowls Australia president, and yeah, we loved having him around the camp. And it's been a while since I caught up with him, but he'll do a great job at doing that particular role and in these testing times.
Hey, mate, it's been a while since we caught up with you, but you've been busy. Australian Open, obviously, up in your neck of the woods about a month ago now. You hosted some masterclasses for Apia throughout that Australian Open. You talked about last week the physical and mental strength training. This week, you want to talk about the technique and technical drills. First off, how much did you originally train technically when you first started out?
Yeah, well, I was very fortunate, and the club I played at, we had a guy by the name of John Snell, OAM, a legend in the game. Plus, I had a guy called Jack Unmack, who spent a lot of time with me. And Jack was definitely one that got the camera out, the old camcorder back there, mate. That's sort of late 90s now, but yeah, he used to put it on the tripod and film my technique. We'd go inside, plug it into the TV, and and look at all the different angles, front on, side on, and look at any sort of inconsistencies in the technique. So I really recommend that to anyone out there that wants to really observe their delivery. Get an iPad, get someone on their phone. These days you can transfer it through to a TV very quickly and easily. And I did a lot of that with my technique early days, and that really did help me. So I recommend people get out there and try and film their delivery as much as possible.
What is the first thing you say to people in terms of their technique to gain ultimate results? I mean, when we talk about golf, it's they talk about how far apart your feet are and head down and things like that. What is the first thing that you need to make sure you've got sorted when it comes to bowls?
I think the one that I always refer to is owning your routine. So, and make sure that bowl after bowl, game after game, that you stick really true to that routine. The best example I can give is that fast bowler in cricket that always steps out their run-up to create that consistency. So they're running in from the same spot, and in bowls, it's the same thing. You've got to start from the same spot, set up your routine, know your line and length, set up your grip and everything, and then start to sort of approach the mat similar to a fast bowler. And the thing is, the fast bowler might be having a good day or a bad day, but they go back to the top of that mark, and then they'll run in from the same spot. And with bowls, we've got to have that continuity in our routine. So have that routine, and then throughout the delivery, make sure you're working on the things such as balance and making sure there's no sort of lateral movements in that delivery, and turning offline, making sure you stay square to your object.
So just give us the simple steps that you give to people for that first up quality delivery technique.
Yeah, I break it down to 3 letters, PAD. So prepare, so get all your preparation sorted. Look how far you have to roll the bowl, how wide you need to send it out, and that's in all your preparation with your grip, and start to visualise the bowl going down the green. Get all that out of the way. You don't want to be thinking about all that when you're at the mat, and then when you actually set up, then approach, so PA, and then the D is the delivery. And you want to have a clear as mind as possible when you're at the mat, hence the reason you put a lot of focus into the preparation section of your delivery, similar to a lot of other sports. A golfer will look down the hole before teeing the ball and look at all the characteristics of that particular hole, and then walk up and address the ball. So in bowls, we can look at a lot of sports like that, and I think having those that simple system of PAD, prepare, approach, deliver, it'll put you in a really good frame of mind.
What are some of the drills that you train and that you'd encourage others to undertake in order for them to use with different weights?
Yeah, there are some really fun drills. You can go there and do it with teammates, or even just a partner or a family friend, whatever it may be. You can go out and do some fun stuff. And I always look at a leapfrog drill. Leapfrog is just setting up 2 targets, maybe 3 or 4 metres apart, and looking to roll a bowl inside the target and add weight as you go. So roll one down at a certain distance and then keep adding weight, so leapfrogging. And then you can see that your technique's sound enough that you can deliberately put weight on. And then you can do a reverse leapfrog in terms of bowling a bowl towards the back of that target and then taking weight off every delivery. So that will make sure, give you a bit of an example or some identify that you can actually put weight on and take weight off, which is a very hard part of the sport, but it would show in evidence that your delivery is quite sound. So that's a good fun drill you can go out there and do. And you've got some other simple drills, is just a grouping drill, bowl one, bowl down the green, and then have the next 3 try and finish within a metre. So there's some stuff you can do. And the beauty of those drills, Sam, is that every bowl has some form of outcome. It's not a bowl that has no meaning. And then you can look down the green and see where they finished, and you can identify that and look to improve. Speaking
of Barrie Lester, I'm Without Bias. So with that, Baz, if you're trying to make a correction to the bowl you've previously delivered, what are some of the things you can do on the practice green to nail them? I always find that the hardest thing. When I put one down, to go, right, well, I know where I want it to be and I know where I'm at. If I could just do this, then I think it'd be okay.
Yeah, probably a good one for me is putting a number on things. So, if you feel as though your bowl has gone 2 metres past your target, think 2 metres in your delivery. So try and deliver a bowl that has 2 metres less weight, and that generally comes from 2 key areas, and that's your pendulum. So how quick or how far back you're taking the bowl in your swing, and then how much body weight you've got involved with that delivery. So ideally, we want those 2 major components working together. So the pendulum, which is our arm swing, and our stepping momentum, so our body weight, we want them working together. So if you can really have those working really well and the timing's right, you'll be able to correct easily. So for me, I look down the green and I'll look at a number 4 or 5 feet wide where I've got to send my bowl. So that gives me a number I can work with. And then when I look down the green, whether I'm bowling to a jack or a bowl, I will put a number on how many metres away that is from the mat, 27, 28, 30 metres, and I'll try and deliver a bowl that replicates that yardage. So there's some really good stuff you can go out and do. You can put cones down on the green or golf tees or bar coasters, and there's some stuff there you can use as targets to really harness all that.
Many different types of bowls that people can use. How do you figure out which ones are best for you?
Yeah, I'm very well supported by Aero Bowls, and one of the things that makes me use that product is probably two things. They're made in Australia, so they're made in Sydney. I like to support the fact that they're made here in Australia. And the other one is that they use the latest and greatest technology. So I'm very comfortable in picking up that bowl. So Aero Bowls use a CNC machine that's like basically a robot and that builds a bowl. And I've seen the robots make these bowls in person. And once you see a bowl made by that kind of technology, you're pretty confident going out there and using it to the best of your ability. And knowing what weight they are and exactly what size, so comfort and control. When you pick up a bowl, it's got to feel good, not only the weight of it, but the grip of it. And if it doesn't, put it back down and try something else. So that comfort and control is absolutely key.
How long did it take you, and how long should it take to gain that smooth action that we see the very best like yourself employ? How long did it take you to master?
Yeah, well, there's definitely always some kinks in my delivery. There still is now, and I'm always trying to fix them. But I think the art or the ability to try and deliver a bowl smooth, it really involves a lot of lower body strength or flexibility. So you've got to be having a fair bit of quite a strong core. And I know some people I've bowled with over the years that may not have that. They'll either pull up sore the next day or won't be able to get down quite low enough. And these people are quite fit, but they're using muscles in their body they're maybe not used to. So, but yeah. For me, if you can get on a synthetic or a really firm surface, a carpet or something like that, and really hone in on getting the bowl away down the centre of the bowl and as smooth as you can on something really firm, that'll test you out. And not only it being firm, it might make a sound if you drop it. So it'll probably make you feel a bit bad when you hear a sound too, Sam. So there's some of the things I used to work on, and I really encourage people that are trying to take the game to the next level to try and practice on as many different surfaces as possible to really hone in on getting it away smooth.
Baz, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Good on you, Sam. Thanks, mate.
Barrie Lester with us on Without Bias. And before we finish up, Right at Home Player of the Week, a huge congratulations to Jake Felberg and director Grant Felberg on your achievements at the recent Multi-Disability Queensland Championships in Mackay. Jake is a blind bowler and did tremendously well, so thoroughly deserving of our Right at Home Player of the Week. A big thanks to Darryl, Clout, big thanks to Barrie Lester. That's another edition of Without Bias for Bowls Australia and for Apia. We'll chat to you again next week.